One of the propagandists over at Fox News is now saying the quiet part out loud, which is he doesn't think that due process should apply to anybody. I'm talking here about Brian Kilmeade. And Brian Kilmeade says, with all these deportations and everything Trump's doing and Tom Homan and the ICE raids, it's just not practical to give due process to everybody. A lawyer, a day in court? No, 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 no. They don't deserve it, and we just can't do it, which is another principle, Constitution, due process, another principle that they claim to support out the window. Let's take a listen to what he had to say, and then we'll talk about it.
I also think it's not practical to think that we can do due process on 8 million people.
No.
There's 22 million people here, and minimum illegal already, just in the last 3 administrations.
Right.
And there's some people that got through with Trump's administration. If we're going to give these guys a day in court and a lawyer, we can't do it. They don't deserve it. Our system doesn't need to be double burdened.
They are so nonchalant about taking people's rights away when it's inconvenient. They claim that rights are the most important thing. They claim that the Constitution is the most important pillar of our society. But all of a sudden, following the law is not practical. The Constitution's not practical. What Kilmeade is calling for here is the suspension of constitutional rights, not for a few people, not in an emergency, but as a blanket policy for millions of human beings. And he's saying it on national TV like he wants a different coffee mug for his water on the set of Fox News. Due process is not some kind of bonus feature of American life. It really is the bedrock of the rule of law. It's a principle that the government can't punish you or detain you or deport you without a fair legal procedure. And this comes directly from the 5th and from the 14th Amendments of the Constitution. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And the scary part is that this is not like a fringe voice. This is a major host on the most watched cable news channel in the United States. And he just casually floats this idea that millions of people should be punished or deported without a trial, without a lawyer, without a defense. Now, once you carve out a group, maybe it's immigrants, maybe it's refugees, maybe illegals. Once you carve out a group and you decide they don't deserve rights, it doesn't stop there. Because then someone will say, well, look at this other group that's also very dangerous. This one's not practical either. Here's another group of people that doesn't deserve it. This is really textbook expansion of authoritarianism. This is how it works. You start by suspending the rights for a group of people that the public has already been primed to either dislike or to fear. You normalize that. You make it policy. And then the next step is that you've built a legal system based on you determining who deserves rights. And then you say, here's another group that we are going to deprive certain rights to. Now, it's important for me to mention, not every constitutional right applies equally to non-citizens. So, for example, the right to vote in federal elections is only for U.S. citizens. So the folks who push this stuff often point to, we don't give every right to non-citizens necessarily. And in a sense, federal election voting is just for U.S. citizens. Jury service is limited to citizens in most jurisdictions. There are certain federal jobs or security clearances. They're only open to citizens. Second Amendment protections, gun ownership we're talking about, can be restricted for non-citizens, especially undocumented immigrants or those who are here temporarily. We know that. The right to enter and remain in the U.S. is governed by immigration law, and non-citizens can be removed under certain conditions that would never apply to citizens. But due process specifically is not optional. It does apply to non-citizens. The Supreme Court has been really clear when you look at the 5th Amendment and the 14th Amendment and how they protect persons. It does mean all persons and not just citizens. So if we were a country ruled by law, and if Republicans really believed in the importance of the Constitution and due process, it means non-citizens who are here have a right to fair legal procedures before a government can come in and say, we're taking your liberty or we're taking your property. or we're taking even more than that potentially. Even if someone is here illegally, they have a right to a hearing, they have a right to challenge deportation, and they have a right to avoid indefinite detention and be treated with basic legal fairness. Now, I know the reaction from many on the right is, hold on a second. They come here illegally, and now we need to waste money in order to prove that it is time to send them back. Yes, that's the way it works. Either you respect due process and the rule of law, or you don't. And every single one of these people that says they hold the Constitution as their highest sort of standard, and then they go along with what Brian Kilmeade is saying, you're not actually following your own principles. After researching, writing, refining, The Echo Machine, my book, is finally out. This is not just a book about how American politics got so broken. It's also about what's happening right now and what we can still do to stop things from getting worse. Trump's been back in power. The results have been even more catastrophic than many feared, with targeting of political opponents and gutting democratic institutions, laying the groundwork to even further consolidate power. But the thing is that none of this is inevitable. The same forces that brought us here can be countered if we understand how they work and what to do about them. And that's what the Echo Machine is all about. Some say that without corporate media backing, books like this can't succeed. I think we can prove them wrong. You can get the Echo Machine right now at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, or by calling any local bookstore and asking them to order it. This book is more important than ever. If you care about what happens next, and I do, check out The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo.